Thank you. My man. There he is.
Let me come off of Google Meet. I had the Google Meet link. I'm like, I'm
That's
here.
all right. That's all right. It happens. It happens. We are certainly here. So, Doc, I got to jump right in because you do a lot, and we're going to talk about a lot of the work that you do, which I think is very important. But I got to tell you, you and your wife do couples work, like workshops. You're either brave or insane. What are you doing? Like, what are you? Yeah. Before you answer that, I'm gonna tell you a true story. My grandma said, "I swear for God." Yeah. My wife jumped on, so she can verify this, but I've never told the story. So anyway, before we got married, we were going to couple. Maybe shortly after, but around the early parts of our marriage, we were going to couples counseling, and there was a couple who used to appear on television. I won't say their names.
Okay.
And black couple. And so as black people, we were thinking we want to go to a black couples counselor, and they're black couples, so they got to understand something we're going through. So we met with him first. We didn't get a chance to meet with her because she put a hit out on him.
Oh, Lord.
It's a true story. That's a true story. That's a true story. Uh-huh. So, knowing that your wife and you are not going to put hits on each other, what on earth made you both think that it was a good idea for you two, as a couple, to stand in front of other couples and talk about how to be a couple?
Yeah. It was God's assignment. So let me break it down. So I'm a marital Christian psychologist. This is what I do every day, all day, help couples get through rough spots in marriages, right? But every time I spoke, Doc, what do you think they say? Let's just keep it real. I'm speaking by myself about marriage. What do you think the audience feedback is?
I'm not doing that because I don't talk about marriage for this very reason.
Right. So,
for this very reason.
Right. Where's your wife? We love to get her perspective, right? So we'd like to book you and your wife. It's a package, right? So I said, okay, all right. Now my wife is in sales, so she's up for anything having to do with public appearances. She's not going to shy away. She's not going to be beneath the moment. I mean, this is what she does. But the real answer was, we could fail in front of everyone, and the only way we're going to make this work is if we do the work that we have other couples do. So anyone that's been along in our workshops, a lot of times the way I come up with the topics is because stuff we're going through.
It's like, I'm thinking, this man is insane. Like, you're describing it, Doc. I'm just telling you. I'm not, listen, I know you're a Christian counselor, and so I can't cuss, but you're bugging. Like, what do you...
No, the structure. So it's like, if we're going to do, it's not us. It's the fact that if we do the work that we have other couples do, we can be better, right? So when we say, all right, we're going to do this exercise, we literally are doing the exercises together. Okay. Because our title, this title means absolutely nothing. It means nothing. Only thing that matters is Alduan and Mecca. The title, what I do at work, what she does at work, it doesn't matter how many years I can do it. I could fail the same as anyone else. So part of planning actually helps us talk about our marriage. When we're doing the workshops, it's actually helping us to plan. And what it does, I'm going to be honest, brother, it puts, I think, for me, a necessary structure on my life. Okay. Because how can I be wild if I'm the guy that's trying to help other people's marriages, right? And my biggest fear is being a fraud, right? He does this, but I saw him with Rihanna last night. Right. So part of that for me is like, okay, this is a great structure, and we love doing it, and people receive it, and I think it helps keep our marriage strong because people are gonna look. They're going to look and see, is it real or is it fake?
But in this social media age where you have a podcast, and we'll talk about that in a minute, because you do some some pretty courageous things on your podcast. And one of them to me is talking about your marriage and your family. You do understand that a clip of you and your wife boisterously talking at the airport. Well, that would just be me and my wife. But talking about a booked flight that didn't get booked the way you wanted to be booked, or wishing she would hurry up with ordering her food. Something benign is the point that I'm making. But one clip cuts into your brand.
That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good content.
Okay.
Yeah, like, so I'm already open book, right? And my wife signed up for it. My wife, even though she's somewhat private, she's open to discussing this because people want to see healthy, real couples. And that doesn't mean that we're perfect. That means that we're able to make perfect adjustments for one another. We're able to show couples how to make adjustments. If not us, especially if not me, then who's going to do it? There's a huge void, right? So it was like, oh, yeah, let me tell you about that picture. Let me tell you what was going on. All right. So my wife is from South Central by way of Inglewood.
Oh, my.
Right? This was me talking to her about who was going to be bumped up to first class. I had points and she didn't, but what's chivalry? But then she said she didn't care, and then I went up there, but you said you didn't care, so chivalry went out the door with communication. So that's what we were arguing about. So what do you do when there's a miscommunication? So we're just so we don't come off as a perfect couple. Now, we're very serious about our marriage, but we say, look, real marriages have issues, and here's a way you can resolve conflict when there's a miscommunication. So we poke fun at ourselves, but we are serious, and we try very hard because it is our brand. That's our main thing, to make sure if we're good at nothing else, that we're good at marriage.
Do people listen, though, when you talk? Meaning, a lot of times people will ask, like they see somebody in shape, right? They see somebody who's buff. They say, what do you do? And the person says, well, I don't eat this. I do eat that. I wake up at this time. I do. Basically what they say in a nutshell is I work my ass off for this.
Right.
When you talk to people, couples, or people who wish to be a part of a relationship, are they listening to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's why. I mean, one, while I may use my own marriage as an example, I'm not there to say, hey, we have this great marriage, be like us. I'm there to say, hey, I have a degree, 22 years of experience, and research, my wife will tell you, every day, every week, on what works when it comes to couples counseling. So I'm here to tell you how successful couples do it. So if you want to be successful, here's what works. If you want to resolve conflict, it's really about hearing one another, not necessarily agreeing.
What does that mean?
So that means that if I can make you feel like I feel you, I don't agree, but I feel you, that, all right, Steve, the way you want to run the house, because how you are, you want it to run like a well-oiled machine. I'm more laid back, but I get it when you come in and things are out of order. That just does something to you. I get it. And if you get, hey, you know what? I have a highly structured day, and I'd like for home to be comfortable and not necessarily so regimented. If we get one another, if we can just succeed at making each other feel like you get me, you feel me and you get me, couples naturally compromise because we're talking feelings and not thoughts.
What do people need to say to convey I get you?
It's called validation.
Okay.
So the highest form of listening is validation. So it goes something like, you know what? I'm upset that you didn't unload the dishwasher on odd days, and I need you to do what you say you're gonna do, so I can trust you and not take advantage of me and think that I'm just gonna do it every day when you don't feel okay. Validation is like, look, I totally understand how you are. We made this agreement. I said I do odd days. You do even. You've done even on the odd day at 9 o'clock. The dishes were still in the sink, right? And I get you can't go to bed for some odd reason with dishes in the sink. You can't do it. It bothers you, and it was agitated. So the end of your day was agitated because I didn't unload the dishwashers, and I get why that stresses you. I get it. I wouldn't like for someone to do my pet peeve if it looks like intentionally. I'd be upset too. Like if you're talking to me in the middle of the Hawks game, and I don't indulge in anything else, majorly, but I'm going to indulge in sports. And you're going to talk to me deeply about the Hawks game? I wouldn't like that. So what you're basically doing is validating their perspective and position, even though I don't agree with it. Because I don't do dishes when I first come home. I do dishes after the Hawks game goes off around 11:30. You said it was done on an odd day, not at 9 o'clock. So what I'd like for you to do is just ask if I forgot, and I would have told you, hey, babe, I'm going to knock them out around 11:30 before I go to bed because I hate doing them. And I can watch SportsCenter on my phone, but I'm going to watch the game, right? Or I would have said, you know what? I totally forgot. My bad. And I would have taken the heat.
Do you think everyone can be married?
The optimist in me wants to say yes, but I know you, Dr. Perry. No, absolutely not. And I don't think everyone needs to be married. There's new research out on happy single people, right? So there's 4 quadrants. There's unhappily single, unhappily married, and happily married, right? But all we do is focus on the happily married people. Like that's the gold standard. But what the research says is happy single people live just as long, have as happy lives as happy married people, and longer than unhappily married people. Why? 1, they can be alone when they want to, but 2, whenever they want connection, whenever they want intimacy, whenever they want relationship, they have a broad network of people who they can do life with. And we see a number of older women like that. We see a number of men that's like, no, I'm happy. I actually like the way my life is, and I can be as social as I need to be and also be able to go home and still have the status of single, right? So
what motivates people to get married?
Are we talking about men or women?
You tell me.
All right, men. Married men are happier, healthier, and wealthier according to the research. So they're happier because they have a partner to do life with. All right. So they don't have to be alone. No one wants to be the saddest thing is an old single man who can't take care of himself. So I'm be honest, a lot of men get married later because they don't want to die alone. They don't want anyone to not take care of them.
Okay.
Be honest. Primary physicians, yours has said it when you're married, but when they get to age 40, almost all primary care say you should think about getting married. If you have a procedure, there's no one here. If you get COVID, you have gallbladder, you have kidney disease, no one's going to be here to help you. It's not wise from a longevity standpoint to be a single older man with no family and no wife. So you're happier. You're healthier because your wife is going to make sure that you're eating right, that you're doing the right things, you're not stressing because she wants what's best for you. And then you're wealthier because 2 of you are going in on the income, or if you have a traditional arrangement where the man is working and the wife is not, then y'all have a partnership. Or it could flip. The wife could be working and the man could be there. But y'all are able to partner and make sure that marriage, family, and business works. So you have a partner to do life with. So men marry because it makes them happier, healthier, and wealthier. Women tend to marry, and we're getting in trouble for this, but it's real. For
no dumb question.
For love,
you're not getting in trouble. You're
but
doing
also
it right.
security, for security. Even quote unquote self-sufficient, or I don't even like the alpha term, but self-sufficient women. So even the Oprahs would say, my ideal husband would make sure that I have the option to work. All women, no matter how successful, CEO, vice president, according to the research, they want the option to work. They work because they want to, not because they have to. And so most women's number one need when it comes to relationship is security, emotional security, financial security, emotional security, right? Family security. They want to have an anchor of the family. So that's why most women get married. They want that security.
So are you saying that even the most powerful women among us want a man because they believe that he provides them a sense of security? He makes it so that they feel like they're taken care of.
Yeah. Yes. Now, they're not saying they're going to stop work, but how easy is life if what are the bills? I don't know. I don't care what the bills are. They're not relevant to me. I can quit my job if I don't like it and pivot to a new one. I can go into entrepreneurship and not worry about how profitable it is. I can take 3 months off if the kids have homeschool due to COVID and not worry about it. I don't have the pressure because women don't identify their egos around providing provisions and work the same way men do. It's more about relationships, family, community, engagement. Most men center their identities around what they do professionally, but not women.
What's the biggest secret in marriages that you see? What's the thing that when couples come in that you know is the biggest secret? People on the outside, but you see it consistently. What's the big secret inside? Not the secret to success, but the secret.
That you can wing marriage. All right. I love you. You love me. And because we love each other, we can make it work. And we don't have to schedule date time. We don't have to schedule time to talk. We don't have to schedule marriage retreats. We don't have to schedule counseling. We'll just figure it out with kids, unemployment, raises, getting promoted, illnesses, both doing well, wife doing significantly better than the husband doing significantly better than the wife, husband going back to school, whatever. You can just wing it. But successful marriages don't wing it. They realize it doesn't work. They actually have rituals. And so you have this with your wife, and they're just subtle. So when you come home from work, ritual. There's a kiss. There's a check-in. There's a let you take a shower. She gets your slippers out. Or you come down. You ask about her day. There's when you leave, you tell each other where you're going, or you wish each other have a good day. You have dinners, some time planned, so it can just be husband and wife time, especially if you have kids, right? You have rituals around sex, right? So
we're getting there.
Kids don't need to be home, or the kids are asleep. We've got a window. We've got a window, girl. All right. So put them dishes down. We got 30 strong minutes, right? Or the 15 girl be home and the other two asleep.
Okay.
So they have rituals where their marriage exists in a schedule, whether it's here or on a smartphone or on a calendar, so that they don't have to wing it and so that they can stay connected.
What's the biggest surprise for you when you got married?
That my wife wouldn't always listen to reason.
Wow. Keep it going.
I could have a completely reasonable thought or feeling or argument or position, and she still wouldn't acknowledge it, that she could keep it going emotionally. That was the biggest surprise.
Could she also disregard your expertise? Like something that you know how to do?
Yeah. Not around this. With marriage, my wife pretty much trusts that I know what I'm talking about. All right. So not that, but financially, yeah. And I would trust the psychologist me more than the money me. And so I'd say, yeah, we need to do this. She was like, nah, I think we need to talk to someone else. Right. So, and I'm inclined to agree. I'm like, look, if they make more money than I do, I want to listen to what they have to say too. Right. Right. So yeah, that's the thing. But our issue is not that. I think I'll tell you the biggest struggle for me is when my wife is stubborn, but I picked her that way. I mean, I kind of like, you know, the thing you like, that feistiness, you're strong in your position. I love it. And then it is also the thing that is the biggest absolute stressor at the same time. My biggest challenge is, who am I when my wife is not perfect? That's why I've had to do the self-work. Do I become imperfect? Do I go Decatur because she went South Central, right? Or is there a way for me to be able to communicate that I need things to be different? Like, and I'll ask you, like, how do I get you to respect and hear me as your husband without being ignorant, right? But not being a sucker and getting run over, just like I'm just going to drop it. What's the fine line between being heard and straight up disrespectful?
Is ego the killer of marriage?
I think, well, you know what? I'm going to say 50-50.
Okay.
Because,
what do you mean?
Because, all right. So let's just say I just did whatever my wife wanted because I don't want to hear her mouth. I don't want conflict, right? I'm just going to happy wife, happy life all the time. Doc, I'm gonna lose me. I'm gonna be resentful. All right, I'm gonna be unhappy, and I think the only way I could probably do that consistently is to actually disengage from my wife emotionally. It's like whatever. I don't really have any feelings. It's what you want to do. I don't care. So I think I begin to disconnect. So I think that part of it, you do need to honor what your partner needs because y'all are one flesh. But the other part, I think you have to draw the line and say there's a healthy sense of entitlement that I need to be as happy in this marriage as you do. So if I'm doing this, and I recently challenged my wife on this, I said we had mutual challenges. My wife's challenge to me was to be temperate. All right. So be temperate. All right. When you're talking, there's no need for you to be upset. You should be able to say the same thing, just like you say at work to, all right, like I am. My wife rarely raises her voice. And I said, all right, my challenge to you is I shouldn't be the only expert in our marriage. Out of the 100 and some books I've read, how many have you read and come to me and say, hey, babe, here's an idea of how to make our marriage stronger? I'm going to say, I'm with it. I don't want to.
But I'm gonna come back to that in a second because I want to say it. Can you have an ego and a long-term marriage? Because in a long-term marriage, things are going to happen that if you told your closest friend, they'd be like, dog, that's got to be it. There are things that only you and she know have happened or didn't happen or don't happen at the level that you, to a public person, might say you expect. It could be sex. It could be listening. It could be downtime. It could be whatever. Can you have a big ego and stay married?
I think it's harder. I don't think you should totally give yourself away because that's not real. I think you can have healthy entitlement that I should be as happy as you are over time, not every day. All right. But I do think if we're talking as men and I'm head of household, I'm the first one that should be humble. I'm the first one that should model apologizing. I'm the first one that should model the tone that I want set in the house. Right. So I've had to change my mindset and my psyche. And I've gotten this from watching older men. Right. And I was like, yo, like, how do you handle X, Y, and Z? And they're like, look, man, you have to stay composed. Composure is going to be your key as a husband, because if you're all the way up here and you can't handle her storm, how is that leadership? Before I saw that, it's like, oh, whoa, no, how you piping up? I'm piping up, right? You're not up and over talk me, and so I've worked on temperance. I've worked on composure, so that I have to be the model. Now, this is not always real. I have to be the model that I need to be as a husband, and so that means a lot of times, checking your ego. However, there are times, because I'm a pleaser, I'm a healer, I'm a fixer, that I've had to stop myself. I've gone too far. Well, I can't be the only one coming up with suggestions. I can't be the only one apologizing. I can't be the first one to repair, because then I think you create, and I've done this in the past, where I've created a monster. All right? Well, I did all the work. And then
what's an example of that?
Yeah, so like in the previous relationship, I said, look, you know what? Who want to waste their time arguing? I'm just going to apologize, not because I think I did anything wrong. I just want peace. But what I enabled her to think that she never had to apologize, because if it came to an impasse, I'm going to be the one who's going to settle the matter when it should have been more even. And so when I said, okay, enough is enough. You done gotten $100,000 worth of credit. It's time to pay the bill. I wish I was you in this relationship. I just wish so badly.
I think you said that. I think, Doc, I think you've said that. So I want to stay there, though, because you mentioned something. You said, if I've read 100+ books on marriage, I'm expecting you to become, as you refer to it, an expert in marriage. Whatever the marriage, however you define marriage. But what if that's not her thing?
And it is funny, she don't get me, but that's not her thing, right? Like, she's like, give me the audio book. But she did order 3 books, right? And so
she's still down, though.
But
there's no parity.
But she's not gonna be me, and I'm not gonna be her, right? You're not. gonna see me running no ultra marathon either. Like that's her thing. You're not gonna see me competing in bodybuilding contests. That's not me. All right, that's her. So you're not gonna see me as composed as she is. She's as cool as the other side of the pillow. I can be rattled, right?
So is it about a respect thing? Is it about respecting each other's expertise? Like there are things that you are and she's not?
Accommodations, right? So what I've asked is like, babe, it would be great if I could carry less of the load personally. So if I'm helping everyone else with their marriage, it'd be great if you were actually saying, all right, what does our marriage need in presenting things to me versus me presenting things to you?
Do you
right?
expect her to get there though? Do you expect her to?
Recent conversation, right? That's a recent conversation, right? And I was like, it would be great because, we're at the end of the year. I said, babe, you realize at the end of the year, I'm the one that always gets the workbook and say, let's plan our lives for the next season. It would be great if you came to me, right? But because and presented said things to me, that would actually relieve me, because in our marriage, you are 50% of the expert team. I don't expect you to do this for other couples. That's not your career. But it'd be great if you picked up a couple of items and said, babe, read this article. What do you think about this? Hey, I was thinking about some different way we could talk about finances, a different way we could talk about, if you want a hot button issue, equity of labor when it comes to raising our 1-year-old, right? I have an idea. And so since I've said that, I will give Sister Girl credit, is that she sent me a couple of articles on Instagram, email to review, and I've actually appreciated it.
So do you think that the man is the head of house?
Depends on what you define as head of household. So
you're the Christian psychologist, so I'm going to let you.
All right, so let me say, when it comes to like power and control, so no, like people forget in the Bible, it talks about mutual submission. It says that man is head of household, man, women should submit to their husbands, but it also says that man should treat his wife like he treats his own self, and they should submit one to another. I believe that's Ephesians 5:21, if I need to look at it, right? And so that means that there are times in which I have to submit to her. And let's be real, I have a talented wife, like you have a talented wife. What are the chances that I'm going to be dominant or superior or more knowledgeable on everything? That's not real. So I'm not. Anytime with negotiations, we were in Jamaica. You know how they say the townhome, right? Try to get you the timeshare. My wife signed up, she can get a free trip. I was mad that
wait, they did that. They did. So your wife got you to go on one of those things too?
Yeah, I was mad.
Do you understand that was one of the biggest fights we had? I mean, for real. That was a fight. That was a straight argument. Because
go ahead.
I said, you do know that this person is not giving us a free trip. Like you're aware that they're not going to give us a free trip. And I don't want to go to Newport, Rhode Island. I don't want to listen to anyone tell me to do something that I don't want to do. So I don't care if I get to eat for free.
Right.
That's not what it is. You're always shooting me down. Blah, blah, blah. So we go. And this dude starts in. If you buy, and I'm like this. So when you knew you were right. You knew you were right.
I didn't want to waste 3 hours of our vacation on a sales pitch. I didn't want. All right, but my wife wanted the free trip or whatever they were giving away. She said, I want it, right? And my wife is super patient, right? But here's the thing. So we're sitting in there, right? And the guy is talking to me about buying it. I'm not paying attention, man. I'm being cordial, but I'm really like, if I say nothing, he's going to realize I don't want it. We can keep it moving. And so he looks at me, he says, you're not the one I should be talking to, are you? And then my wife smiled, because my wife is good with negotiations. So she was just sitting there studying, looking at the numbers, coming up with her. And then he turns to her and they start negotiating. I was like, can I leave? Because I can go on the beach, whatever y'all are going to do. My wife is a superior negotiator. I'm going to get tired at a certain point, Doc, and say, look, I don't want to do this out of impatience. Let's just split the difference and keep it moving. My wife is like, we're not splitting anything. All right. First of all, no one's buying a timeshare. All right. And then y'all, if this was so of a commodity, you wouldn't have drawn us in here for 3 hours. So it looks like the demand is low. And I ran some comps. But my wife was like that. Why would I, for ego, be dominant in a negotiation when she's going to get the better deal 10 times out of 10?
So for you, it's not an absolute notion of every time a decision is made, you as the man have to make it. But when it is in your purview, when it is something that you carry some weight on, you seem to feel like you should be allowed to tap in on that.
We're a team, you know. Was it Ecclesiastes 4 and 9, 2 are better than 1 because they get better return for their labor? If I'm better at it, my wife's gonna be like, yo, that's Alduan's area, right? If it's conflict, whatever. If it's the negotiations and my wife or real estate, that's her bag. Her mom is a real estate agent. I don't know anything about those investments. I don't know anything. I don't know the numbers. I don't know the equity. I don't know anything. I say, you and your mom looked at the numbers and it looks good. You don't need my permission. Go knock it out. I do want half though. All right. But go knock it out. Right. My wife does not question me about cryptocurrency. She does not question me about stocks. She's not questioning me about the things that are in my department. Right. And so what we do is we partner on the things that we're better doing. And if neither of us are better, we go find a consultant.
How do you teach others, and how do you manage the input of people on the outside of your marriage?
Let's see. One, we have a pretty we do let people in our marriage. We have our own counselor, Dr. Kenny Felix, right? Wonderful brother, right? Anytime we argue 3 times about the same matter, we just call Dr. Felix. Why argue a 4th or 5th time? I don't have a tolerance for it. Neither does she, right? And if you ever messed up holidays or weeks, I just don't have it. Let's just go get it resolved, right? Let's let him tell us what we're supposed to do, and let's just do it, right? And so we involve other people. We may involve other couples and say, let me run some thoughts by you. As a man, I will call other men and say, yo, this entrepreneurship thing my wife's trying to do, how should I be supporting that, bro? I know I'm failing, but I don't know if she does well, I'm gonna show enough on half. But should I be tripping on this thing? Should I be asking her to go back to corporate? What should I be doing? How do I support this? I'm a rookie in this, right? I will ask other people, what I need.
What is the thing that you see that couples encounter that almost always is the death nail?
Ooh, disconnection. You
didn't say infidelity. You didn't say money. You didn't say children. You didn't say sex.
No, disconnection. See, it's right now. If we don't have connection, we have no interview. We can have animosity. We can have pride and ego. We can not have good chemistry. We can have, you could offend me. I could offend you. I could overtalk you, whatever. All these things could happen. We could still have a relationship. I could apologize. I could shift. I could read body language better. I could be briefer, whatever the case may, I can adapt. But if we have no connection, it's over. And so with couples, if I don't feel you and you don't feel me, it's over. So when you have couples sit down and they've grown apart, it's really easy for them to divorce.
What does that look like? Talk us through.
That's a good question. I usually, it is the wife trying, it's 2 things. It's the wife trying to get the husband's attention. If we're talking about heterosexual marriages, right? The wife is trying to get the husband's attention. Husband is like, look, I don't want to talk about it. Don't bring it up. I'm not going to change. All right. The wife brings it up. And then finally she realizes I can do better by myself. All right. I love God, but I'm not dying from stress for anyone. I'm not going to be miserable. If he's never going to change and he's never going to allow me to have influence, I'm going to be out, even though I love the Lord, right? So she disconnects, and it's interesting. She disconnects. She still does her wifely duties, and she plans on how she can live on half of his income or whatever income she has before she pivots, because security is an issue. For men, it's when I've tried to say how I feel and you disregard how I feel over and over again, my only card that I can play is to care less about what you think or feel.
I don't want you to come off of that. I don't want you to come off of that because I want you to talk about, we've heard woman scorned, or if we were to quote R. Kelly, when a woman's fed up, whatever. But what does it look like when you are in your office and you look across and you see a disconnected man? Talk to me about his body language. Talk to me about what he says. Talk, because I don't think that most women know what the hell they're looking at when they see a disconnected man.
Ooh, that's strong. He's going to be stoic because he realizes his emotions don't mean anything. Telling you how I feel and you telling me about why I feel is dumb, or how I feel is dumb, or I can't get the words right, or I can't communicate. I'm just going to let you have it. All right. So he's going to be stoic. He's going to build up, we call it stonewalling. He's going to build up a stone wall between he and his wife so that he cannot be hurt or disappointed anymore. Because in his mind, there is no connection. There is no...
Stay there. Because you just said something that, again, I don't want people to miss what you said, Doc. You said he doesn't want to be hurt anymore. But it doesn't look like that to most women. They don't see him crying. He's not hollering. He's not threatening anybody. He's
irritable. All right. He's matter of fact. Whatever you want to do. All right, that's what you want to do, so that's fine. All right, what's next? Are we good? We done? Anything else we need to talk about? Okay. All right. See you later, babe. And he's already moved on, either to another person, some other realm of his life that brings him joy. Right, so he's focusing on the kids. He's focusing on building a business. He's focusing on the gym. He's focusing on sports. He's found, I have to have enjoyment. So I'm going to survive the marriage by being homeless, right? Or when I'm home, focusing less on my wife, since that's an area of contention. So I'm going to be married but single. I want to be roommates. There are a lot of couples where they're in different bedrooms or in the same bedroom, but they're single and they behave that way. And
what does that look like? When he comes in the house, he sees the dog, the child, and the wife. Talk me through what happens.
Ooh, so he'll play with the dog, right? He'll engage with the children, right? And he won't say anything to his wife or to be generic. Did we pay that bill today? Or did you cook? If she says no, he just orders Uber Eats. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't say, I'm not going for this, because he's already prepared for disappointment. He's all preemptive to him coming home. There's nothing this woman can do to upset me because I really don't care anymore.
You got to go deeper on that, Doc. You got to go deeper on that because I know.
Nothing you can do because they've already been through such bad things. You can't hurt them anymore.
So stay there, because we so often, as men, are led to believe that we're not even supposed to feel. But what I hear you saying is when a man is fed up, there ain't nothing you can do about it. Because he said, I don't want you to hurt me anymore. But he's not going to long notes, crying fits, call his mother to have her talk to you about his emotions. I heard you say he's just going to go blank to her, not to everybody.
Right. Well, he's going to have styles. So you have some with a little ditty in them. They're going to have a mantra, right?
Yeah.
I can't take it. All right. But once that doesn't work or it backfires, he's going to realize, all right, I'm going to have to, like, when you ask men, what's the purpose of emotions? Most men say you shouldn't have them. They only get you in trouble to make mistakes. You get too emotional, you make mistakes. So a lot of men say, all right, look, I don't want to call my wife out her name. I don't want to get physical with my wife, but she's touched a nerve. This is a no-win situation. So I'm going to get rid of my emotions because all they do is make me the angry guy. So that's one. I think guys do cry. Guys do write long notes. But once guys do call counselors. But once that's not reciprocated, the worst thing you can do for a man is make him feel helpless. We don't like to feel helpless or inadequate in any area. And if I feel helpless, there's nothing I can do, say, pray, fast. None of that works for you to feel me. The only card I can play is the disconnection card, where I disengage because I don't care how you feel.
You said
that's the
it,
5.
You said at the beginning that a woman marries because on some level she wants to feel protected, and that's the epitome of the goal of a goal for her. And you said just a moment ago that when a man feels like he can't do that, meaning to be the protection, to be that person, to be the high water mark, instead of fighting to become the alpha male when there's only one male in the relationship, he just disengages.
Yeah.
Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah. He disengages. Oftentimes, it opens up the door for infidelity, not based on looking for love, but just to be seen. Men's weak point is lack of appreciation, right? You know this being an administrator. You think it's women, but it's men who are actually more offended that you didn't appreciate them. Now, we don't necessarily.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's like, I move your TV, you didn't even say thank you. You know, I did this, I worked extra hours, you didn't even say thank you. So in a relationship, I gassed your car up, and it's 12 degrees tomorrow in Atlanta. I gassed your car up, and it was 12 degrees. You didn't say anything? You didn't say thanks, babe, for gassing my car? I know it's freezing out there.
Folks don't realize how quickly it happens. A lot of sisters, and we're going to come to a couple women, like, please tell us how to fix it. I'm coming to it. And we're coming to the top, and I knew Doc and I were going to barrel through this, and they're asking for part 2 already, brother. But I just want sisters to hear what Dr. Tartt is saying, that when a man feels that he is not appreciated, he takes the time, for instance, to on the ride in say, hey, babe, almost home. Do you need anything? And you don't say thank you. Trust and believe there's not many more of those phone calls coming, because you hurt his feelings. He's not going to call you back and say, you hurt my feelings. He's just going to stop doing it. It's just going to stop happening. He saw when y'all got in the car, he got in your car and saw that the check engine light was on, or he saw that the car's tire needed some air. And then you got in the car and you didn't see that the car tire needed air. You know damn well that it didn't blow itself up, but you didn't take the time to say, thank you, thank you. And so what I hear you saying, Dr. Tartt, is that when you are in a session and you look across and there's a man and he's like, okay, sure. He's emotionless. It's a wrap.
Yeah, or it's close to a wrap. And so, but I can't discount the fact that he's here. See, it's really a wrap when
talk us through
and not participating in marital counseling. Because the first thing friends and family are going to ask when you say, hey, we're getting divorced, did y'all try counseling? All right, he's already ready for that question. Man, I'm already done. There's nothing the counselor can say. I'm done. I was gone 6 months ago, right? I was just waiting to see if it would get better. The last argument we had, that was the last argument we were going to have that I cared about, right? But with a man who's here, you know, and if he's able to, I had a man today that came in and said, I didn't want to be here, right? But I came because I wanted to fill it out, right? And once he saw that he could actually be heard and it could be even, right, he actually appreciated the session. So what I'd say to that wife is like, tell me, and it goes both ways, but tell your husband 3 things you appreciate about him real time. And I also want you to tell him something you're thankful for that he may not know that meant a lot to you in your marriage. And see, when women open up, I can tell you how many men actually have to fight back tears. They're so hungry to hear that when I came in from work and I was tired and my back hurt and you wanted me to pick up your mom from the airport and I just did it, right? And it showed that I valued family, even though I knew I was tired. I did not eat. Your mom and I don't even get along, right? But I went and got your mom from the airport and was cordial and made sure she didn't need anything because I value family. I appreciate you doing that. I know my mom is a lot, and she may not even be the most appreciative and a little particular.
Extra, yeah. Men
are like, I'm good. I don't need you. You know what? I'll do it 18 more times if you just appreciate. I appreciate you. You don't even like your job. You stay on your job because I want security. You really want to go out here and be an entrepreneur and pursue your dream, but you don't want to put us in a bad space. So you're willing to ignore yourself, put yourself on mute. Where if you're by yourself, you'd be going for it. All right. Because you don't want us to go without, and you don't want the kids to go without college tuition, baby. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
There's nothing like coming home and knowing that your wife knew you were going to be home late, knew that you got a couple kids in the crib, and they were going to eat through everything that had been cooked, and there's a plate put aside for you.
Fact.
Say what you want. Ain't no jewelry.
That's right.
Right there, just knowing that the person you love respects you enough to say, I think he might be hungry. That's a level of respect. You're like, wow, you know what? Thank you. Like, I'm not, but even if I'm not, it means so much to me that I'm going to eat this. I'm going to eat this because thank you. Just thank you as a form of appreciation. My grandmother would not allow my grandfather to go to bed without eating. I mean, my grandma was tough. I think she would like made him eat, and he would say, I ain't hungry. And it got to the point where she knew that it wouldn't that was her love language, I guess is the best way to say it. So we're coming to the top, and you have so many things you're involved in. Before we get to those, I want you to take us home. When you look across to those couples, what are the hallmarks of happiness?
Fun. What we found from the marriage retreats that we host. So we host one called A Weekend for Love. We're hosting something in Atlanta around Valentine's Day weekend. All right. Have another one in the Riviera Maya sometime in I have to look at August, all right, of next year. Right. And what we've realized is couples who have fun solve a lot of their own problems. All right. It seems like they have this many problems when they come and they have fun and they connect and they go back to what worked, which was dating for 3 or 4 days, away from the kids, away from work. So that's one. Couples who play together, stay together. So the marriage should be above the family, not the family above the marriage. So that's one, because if you lose the marriage, you split the family. Right. And that's not how it started. Even if you blended family, y'all dated before you introduced the kids. So one, have those date nights set in stone as a cornerstone. Have 15 minutes a day of being able to connect with your spouse. They call it love mapping, to make sure that we stay connected, because you could be married for 30 years and be on totally different pages. I knew you 3 years ago, but I don't even know what's going on in your head recently. A lot of people are offended by that. Right. Three, turn towards your partner sometimes. Marriage is not all about you. Right. My wife wants to get back into being a fitness model. I don't like it, Dr. Perry. I'm just going to be honest. I just don't like it. But I'm not going to ever tell my wife she can't do something. And that's when I met her, she was doing that thing. So I'm going to be a hypocrite. Right? So sometimes I have to bend towards my wife. My wife doesn't always want to be in church for 3 services. First time. Why we have to?
Doc, I might be with her on that one.
Why we got to go sit there, leave at 11 o'clock? I'm like, but you got to go together. It's at 8 or 11. You can't be bedside Baptist. I'm like, where's Doc's family, right? Like, where's his wife? All right, you need to lead at least 1 or 2 Bible studies a year, not every week, but come on, something, right? Yeah. A fitness chat got something. So you have to bend towards, and then I think 2 more. I think 1, conflict resolution. Just try to feel your partner, feel her. Just feel her, and she needs to feel you, and you'll come up with your own negotiations, and then be intentional about legacy. So you asked at the very beginning, is why my wife and I do this together. This is why God put us together. Like we hurt when marriages break apart. Like, I feel like I could have helped. I know part of that is Pollyanna, it's just not real. My wife was like, what could we have done that might have helped them? Let's do it. Now, we do realize we're putting ourselves front and center, right? We do realize that, right? One time we were arguing outside of a club in DC. I threw my gum, and someone said, "Aren't you that relationship expert?" I said, "No, that ain't me."
Nah, bro. I'm not. I'm telling you right now, you are braver than I will ever be.
They could say the same thing. They could say the same thing about your work.
They do,
right?
Someone
has to be in the belly of the beast and to be able to be the face. Because you the same thing you say about my wife, they can say the same thing about your kids.
They do,
right?
It's one of the hardest things. I know you went to Morehouse, graduated from Morehouse. I have a son at Morehouse, and I have a son at the University of Pennsylvania. And it's very easy for someone to look at. My children have had to live through being. I don't know what it's like to be a preacher's kid, but to be a principal's kid's gotta suck. And they've been the founder of the school's kids for their whole life. And I've tried to talk to them about how I do empathize with what it is of my youngest son. He definitely was focused on making sure that people knew I'm not that good at this stuff. So he was going to push it to make sure he's a Morehouse brother of yours at this point. But the point is, I get where you're coming from. And to a degree, I have to admit that you sold me, not for me to do it, but why you do it. It makes more sense to me why you do it. I think that if I can offer this, then I think that the happiest people in relationships, there are a couple of signs of them. And one of them is that together they have a thing. There's a thing that they have that they enjoy doing, that it's their thing. I remember a couple, I'd be outside the front door, I'm outside greeting kids. And when I'm outside greeting kids, you see people come up and you can tell people are just some people are just miserable. You're like, dog, it is 6:30. Why are you miserable? Like, seriously, whatever you did, stop. But there's this one couple that used to come wearing jerseys, always. They would wear, so on Friday, not always, during football season, they were New England Patriots fans. So they would wear, she had her jersey, he had his jersey, and they would drop their two sons off. And they didn't make a big deal out of it, but that was their thing. And what that thing means is that they're going to be together this weekend. They're planning their entire weekend together. The kids are going to be there. It's a thing. Like, to your point of a date night, this is their thing. Other people, they hike, they work out. One of the things my wife and I do, we work out. So that's one of our things. Like, I believe that the more things you have, the more connections you have, the more likely you are to build the relationships. The more things you have with other people, the more opportunities you have to build relationships with other people. I'm not talking about fidelity or infidelity. That's not my point. My point is that if you're out with your boys because they like to play golf and you like to play golf and you like to really, really, really play golf, and your wife either A, has no tolerance for you being gone that long and doesn't have her own parallel thing. So if it takes you 4 hours to play and she doesn't have 4 hours worth of work for herself, then all she can do is sit back, resent, and wonder what you're doing and why she's not being invited. And then if you invite her, she doesn't really love to do it. So then she just sits there like, and then your thing becomes another form of contention. Like, why can't you come back with me? So I find people, one, who have a thing to be the happiest. And the other thing I find is that people who have a sense of self, who respect themselves, who have a sense of self-esteem,
that's good,
tend to be the ones who are the happiest in all relationships. I can watch you and I'm like, go get them, bro. You go on the Housewives. I have to stop watching that stuff. My wife and I had to stop watching the Housewives because after we would watch it, we'd get into arguments.
Oh, for sure. I had to call my oldest daughter to ask who I was doing the episode with.
Well, there's that.
I was like, tell me about Marlo. What do I need to know? I mean, give me the scoop so that I'm not blind here. But I also had connection.
Yeah.
But
right. So to that point, I believe that one, a couple has a thing. Two, people who are comfortable in themselves. And finally, happy people tend to be happy.
There it is. There it is.
When you're happy, you're looking for things to keep you happy. And if you're not a happy person, the best sex, the biggest house, the prettiest spouse,
Ooh.
the smartest kids. Doesn't mean anything to you. And I'm not talking about happy in the sense, because people celebrate their joy differently. Some people celebrate their joy through laughter, other people through silence, right? They kind of to themselves, but they're comfortable in that. They're not trying to be whatever your happiness is. But happy people also tend to want to be around people who keep them happy. They want to stay high.
That energy. That's true.
They want the energy.
Hey.
They want the energy.
Hey, I appreciate it, Doc.
Brother,
that's good word, man. Great word right there.
Well. So I just dressed like a preacher. I can't be one. The responsibility is too high.
I'm a Christian psychologist, so I only preach on mental health Sundays, brother. That's it.
How about that? So you're working on a bunch of things. I just want you to share it with folks. Folks have been saying we got to do this again. We will do this again. I assure you we will. What are some of the things you're working on? Tell folks what you got going on.
You just Tartt. Yeah, Dr.Tartt.com. I'll put it in the link.
Yeah.
But just go to my website, see what's going on. I just partnered with the Ad Council on helping families to connect, because what we found is that the average family is now disconnected due to work and social media. So we'll be coming out with some things in the new year to help families to connect with a series of workshops, interactive, for the community, not just panels, but like families come and say, hey, let's do the work. Let's connect. Dad, ask your son a question. So that's coming with the Ads Council. I've partnered with NAMI, National Association of Mental Illness, as well as Alchemy, to promote mental health. So I'm going to be big on suicide prevention when it comes to men. That's rolling out at the beginning of the year, especially in what's in light of happened the last couple of months, in identifying stoic and strong men who are treatment resistant and how to talk to them. That's coming. And then a series of mental health classes rolling out in 2022. Interact.
2023, you mean?
2023.
Yeah.
Thank you. 2023 mental health classes, so that I can reach the masses versus just in this office.
Well, I want to again thank you, brother. Folks, I told y'all we were going to do this thing. And a couple folks said, Dr. Perry, we're not usually talking like this, because I don't. Because I try to avoid such topics, because I don't want to be held accountable. I don't want to be put in that space where when we're out and we're just trying to be people, and people watching to see how we interact or don't interact. I'm in the city, so forgive me. But I wanted people to hear how we would talk, how we talk, and what we talk about. Now, I appreciate you coming through, brother. I want to do this again real soon. Yes, folks, they keep saying it was an amazing discussion. We appreciate you for joining us tonight. Doc, thank you so much. Tell your wife that we all thank her as well, and I do mean it sincerely. We thank you both for being courageous enough to inspire us, to encourage us, and to not make us feel bad like we have to try to be something that is far greater or different than even you are, that we are coming to you with feet of clay. Look, my wife said that it was excellent, so I guess I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything too stupid.
There's tonight, the appreciation, brother. She got
it. I got my appreciation. Thank you, Savannah, Georgia. So thank you so much, but let's do this again soon.
Sure.
Thank you so much. You take good care of yourself.
God bless. And thank you. Bye.
Oh, my pleasure.